Actually, in the past, many Malay families had something called Saka in their family. It was meant for his mother, but she refused to worship it. Afterwards, strange things happened in his house, like a spider clinging to his wall, lowering its head and staring at him. After communicating, they found out that their ancestors had killed a woman in the past. Okay, today I'm here to answer the questions you want to know about. Today, the topic we want to talk about is dreams. So in dreams, sometimes we might experience things like sleep paralysis or see some strange scenes, for example, dreaming about weird animals or having relatives come to ask for things in your dream. So today, let's answer these questions. Almost every night I experience sleep paralysis, and from time to time I also hear sounds or music. Sometimes I even hear someone whispering in my ear saying, "I'll come back for you." Is this just stress or is it something supernatural? Actually, I think this is a really interesting question because it can really be looked at from different perspectives. As a Taoist priest, if someone comes to me with this question, usually the first thing I would do is tell them to see a doctor first. Because for me, I wouldn't immediately attribute a problem to something supernatural since we just don't know. Nowadays, with how advanced medicine is, sometimes when we hear sounds or things like that, it could be paranoia or what they call schizophrenia. These kinds of symptoms are all possible. So, we need to rule out physical illnesses first. If doctors can't diagnose anything, then maybe it really is something supernatural. If you're looking for a solution, I think you can try coming to us and see if we can help you solve this problem. Usually, if it's about nightmares or sleep paralysis, I would suggest wearing a string of cinnabar beads because cinnabar itself has a calming effect. For example, our spirit tends to wander, especially when we sleep. When we're asleep, our soul actually leaves our body and goes wandering around, which is why we dream. So if you wear cinnabar, it can help keep your soul in your body and you're less likely to experience those strange things that can happen while sleeping. But if you're experiencing sleep paralysis every day and it's been going on for many years, I suggest you find someone to help you as soon as possible because that's quite serious. And if you even hear someone saying, "I'll come back for you," that sounds like a warning to me. So if you want, I think you can come to us for help. Every time I sleep, I dream about snakes. This year, I've already had 5 snake dreams, usually about a black snake. Lately, I've been dreaming about them more often. While sleeping, my heart races and I feel like I'm falling from a high place but can't wake up. What does this mean? I think this is really funny, okay? Usually, if a woman dreams about snakes, it means she might have a son. That's what people say. But if you're a man and you dream about snakes, it means you have a strong sexual desire, that you have a lot of desire. You know what I mean, right? It means you're really horny. That's why you keep dreaming about snakes, because the shape of a snake actually resembles a reproductive organ. And since you dream about it every day, it means you have a lot of desires and needs that haven't been satisfied. So they come out in the form of dreams. The fact that you recently dreamed about a black snake means your desires are really strong now, and you can't take it anymore, so it comes out in your dreams. And you said you have that feeling of your heart racing and falling from a high place. You really need to see a traditional Chinese medicine doctor because this is actually a sign of kidney deficiency. You should go see a traditional Chinese medicine doctor to get your body adjusted because if you keep having these dreams every day and your heartbeat is also affected, it's usually related to your kidneys. The kidneys and the heart are connected. So go see a traditional Chinese medicine doctor and get your body adjusted and you'll get better. Okay, someone asked that he often dreams of his deceased relative telling him that he's very hungry and has no money. and then later he dreams of this relative living in another world. So, what does this mean? Actually, if you have a relative who passed away at home and you dream of them coming to ask you for something or complain to you, we usually think that they really do need something. For example, when my own grandpa passed away, we didn't burn joss paper or follow those customs for him. So, actually, the first time I dreamed of him was on the third day after he passed away. Then I dreamed of him in another house, a house that I had never been to before. And I could even describe what the house looked like inside, what kind of place it was. Then I saw him, and the clothes he was wearing were all tattered and worn out. He was sitting on the sofa, also all worn out. Then I woke up, and when I got up, I told my parents, "Hey, I dreamed of Grandpa." I said I don't know why he was dressed like that, wearing such clothes. And he was in this house, and I described what the house looked like. At that moment, my dad and mom looked surprised, their eyes widened. I asked what was going on, and they told me that the house I described was actually my great-grandmother's house, my grandpa's mother's house, and I had never been to that house before. So we thought it was strange. Why would I dream about that? Then we figured maybe it was because we hadn't burned a house or things for him, so he didn't have his own place to live or clothes to wear. That's why he was temporarily staying at my great-grandmother's house. There are a lot of cases like this, really a lot. Even now, as a Taoist priest, sometimes people choose sea burials, scattering the ashes in the ocean. After that, their family members start dreaming that their deceased relatives come back and say they're cold, that they want to come home, that they don't want to drift outside anymore. There are many cases like this, and more or less, something always happens. If you dream your deceased relative says they lack money, just make a simple offering and problems will stop. Afterward, you might dream they thank you, appearing better dressed and in a brighter place, showing their environment has improved. You'll likely have similar dreams later. What should you do if a ghost appears in your dream? Once I dreamed a woman said, "So you like this kind of thing," and saw a female ghost's shadow on my shoulder. When I woke up, I still heard a woman crying. Wow, actually that's pretty scary. It kind of feels like a Japanese horror movie. You asked what to do, right? Actually, if you want my perspective as a Taoist priest, I think you can simply memorize the names of some deities. I used to experience sleep paralysis quite often and would have some strange dreams. But ever since I started reciting this mantra, I haven't encountered those things anymore. In Taoism, there's a mantra called the Cross Heavenly Scripture, which is an astronomical mantra. It's called Jutian Yingyuan Lei Shen Puhua Tianzun. This is the title of the Thunder God, and we believe that as long as you recite his name, he will come whenever you call. Just invite him, and he will definitely come. Also, thunder has the power to ward off evil, so these ghosts and monsters are actually very afraid of it. I once dreamed of a little baby. In the dream, it was actually very simple. I was just walking around my house and suddenly I heard a baby's cry. Then when I turned my head in the dream, there was a baby ghost crawling toward me and it bit my foot. It was really painful. In the dream, I shouted because it hurt. At that time, I had just started learning about Taoism and didn't know much. I only knew about the Cross Heavenly Scripture. So I recited, Jutian Ying Yuan Lei Shen Puhua Tianzun. As soon as I said it, in my dream, I saw a blue light shoot down from the sky like a bolt of lightning. As soon as the light struck down, I woke up. After that, I never dreamed of those strange things again. So, if you're scared, you can give it a try. But I think if this female ghost is crying, maybe she needs your help, so don't be so harsh. You can try using another deity's name, which is Tai Juku Tianzun. This deity is known for saving people from suffering and hardship, and usually we invite him during rituals for delivering souls. He is more compassionate toward these wandering souls. So, if this female ghost is crying and wants your help, and you don't know how to help, you can recite the name of Tai Juku Tianzun. Then this deity can guide the wandering soul to a better place, which is much better. You shouldn't just randomly and carelessly destroy a ghost. I've been dreaming of a Pontianak appearing in my dreams, asking me to agree to do 3 things. Among these 3 things, one is to sacrifice some animals, and there are some other strange requests. Is this related to my mother's recurring illnesses? Wow, actually I want to ask, are you Malay? Are you one of our Malay viewers? Because what you're describing sounds a lot like something from the Malay community itself. Like they have their own kind of witchcraft, something called Saka. Oh, I don't know if you've heard of it. I heard about it from a Malay friend and also from an ustaz. Actually, in the past, many Malay families had something called Saka. This Saka is kind of like a spirit in the house, and as long as you worship it, your family will prosper. But if you don't worship it, it will start to cause trouble in your home. For example, it might make your family members suddenly fall ill, or there could be accidents and even deaths. This thing is supposed to be passed down from generation to generation. But because many Malay families later converted to Islam, they stopped worshipping this so-called Saka. So many Malay families started having problems, but they themselves didn't know the reason. So this is something an ustaz shared with me. Now I want to ask, hey, is this viewer one of our Malay friends? If you really encounter this, I think you should quickly resolve it, and it's definitely related to your mother's illness. One of my former Malay friends, his family had this thing. His mother knew about it, and it had already existed since her generation, this so-called Saka. It was supposed to be passed on to his mother, but she refused to worship it because she felt it was evil. But after that, a lot of strange things started happening in their home. For example, his father suddenly got into a car accident and passed away. Then his mother developed diabetes. And it just wouldn't get better. She kept getting all sorts of strange illnesses, one after another. Then when it came to him, he also started getting all sorts of strange illnesses. He kept dreaming of a female ghost, like a spider, crawling on his wall, looking down at him like this every night. And when he woke up, there would be scratch marks on his body. He got really scared, so he moved away. Then the Saka didn't follow him, but since his younger sister lived there, it began attacking her. Every night she was so frightened in her sleep that she cried, and each morning she woke up with new scratch marks on her body. So in the end, how did they solve it? They went to find an ustaz, a religious leader from the Malay community, to help them. How did they solve it? They went to look for the source, and then they discovered that the Saka was actually a knife, a curved blade in their family. The knife was covered with a yellow cloth. This heirloom was passed down for generations. They knew it was important, but didn't realize the knife sealed the female ghost inside. After communicating, they found out that their ancestor had killed a woman in the past. Then he captured the woman's spirit, basically caught her. He said, "You must serve me," which was actually a kind of witchcraft. He told her, "You have to serve me, you must forget yourself, and then I won't let you suffer." So it was passed down from generation to generation. But there was something they didn't know, which is that this kind of witchcraft comes with a price. If you do this, maybe while you're alive, you'll be very prosperous. Your business will do well and you'll stand out. But after you die, your soul will be controlled by her. So her spirit will become stronger and stronger. So when they wanted to break this so-called curse, it had already become a curse. It took a very long time to break it, but in the end, they managed to do it. Yeah, that's right. So if you encounter this problem, I advise you to quickly find someone to help you. Ever since my grandfather passed away in 2019, I've started to feel the presence of spirits whether I'm at home or outside. Is this normal? Wow, honestly, this is the first time I've heard about something like this. I think it might just be a coincidence, or maybe it's just the timing. Maybe you've reached a certain stage, or maybe you've been practicing something yourself and suddenly your sensitivity has increased, so you started to feel it. There's also another possibility, which is that when your grandfather passed away, at the funeral, there might be some negative energy. We call it shaki, because when a person passes away, there's this kind of energy. That's why people say you should avoid it. For example, when they're nailing the coffin, everyone has to turn their heads. Or when the spirit returns, no one should be at home, things like that. Because there's this kind of negative energy, and it affects our bodies in different ways. Some people might get sick, and some people might even die. It's all possible. Maybe at that time you accidentally came into contact with this negative energy and it affected your body. Your sensitivity suddenly increased. There's a saying that if you've never felt anything your whole life, but then you experience something supernatural just once, after that you'll be able to sense it. Because once you know what that state feels like, what these spirits feel like, you'll be able to understand their energy more easily. There's this kind of saying, but I don't know if it's true or not. But if it helps you understand your own situation, I think you can accept it. But what I mean is, if you sense these spirits or supernatural things and they don't really affect your life, then you shouldn't worry too much about it. The more you think about it and try to experience it, the stronger your senses will become. So if you're afraid, then just don't think about it anymore and act like nothing happened. But if you want to strengthen this ability, then go experience it more. The more you experience, the more you'll be able to sense it. Since I was young, I've often had very realistic dreams. For example, I would be running away in my dreams, wandering around, or having all sorts of strange dreams. Now that I've grown up, it's turned into experiencing sleep paralysis. So I want to ask, is this actually related to the supernatural, or is it completely unrelated? Hey, I actually think it doesn't really have anything to do with the supernatural. It's not something scary. Actually, I think this is a problem of physical weakness. From the perspective of traditional Chinese medicine, it really means your liver isn't in good condition. The liver stores the soul. We say that when we sleep, our soul is stored in the liver. So if your liver isn't good, your soul will drift out. And when it drifts out, you'll start having strange dreams, going to different worlds. And you might dream that you go here and there, doing different things and playing with different people. Because your soul itself is unstable, it's very easy for you to be attacked by other supernatural things. So actually, if you want to solve this, it's really easy. Just go see a traditional Chinese medicine doctor and take care of your body, and you'll be fine. So don't worry too much. Hey, since I'm talking about dreams today, let me share a recent story. You know, the Chinese Ghost Month just passed, and during that month, someone came to me for help with a supernatural problem. She told me that there are 3 people in her family: herself, her husband, and her child. Then her child started pointing at the window every night and saying, "My, mommy, mommy, uncle, uncle, uncle." They got scared and wondered what uncle he was talking about. After that, they started experiencing sleep paralysis every night. When they slept, they would get sleep paralysis. The lady of the house kept dreaming that something was chasing her, like a ghost was chasing her in her dreams and trying to possess her body. That's why she came to me for help. At first, I thought maybe it was just, a dream. Maybe the whole family was just stressed or something like that. I didn't think much of it. But later, she really seemed like she needed help, so I went to her house. When I first got there, I asked the lady if I could look around her house. She said, okay, so I walked around. There's a corridor in the middle of Housing and Development Board flats. As I was walking, I suddenly saw that there really was an uncle. I saw an uncle wearing a tank top, and he was all blue. He walked from the corridor into one of the rooms, and I was like, who is that? I quickly went to find the lady of the house and asked her, hey, do you have an uncle? May. He really liked wearing tank tops about this height, and I described what he looked like. Then I told her one thing: he must have passed away from an illness because he was blue. She thought about it and said, no, I don't think so. But then suddenly she said, oh, yes, yes, yes. She said she had an uncle, her mother's brother, who just passed away from lung cancer. Then she said that's why she believed me. And I asked, but why would this uncle be here? I said, I don't know either. I don't know why this uncle would come. Maybe you were close to him. She said, yes, she was very close to him, and her son was especially close to him. So she told me that the room the uncle walked into was actually her son's room. I said, oh, no wonder. I asked if her son cried when he mentioned his uncle. She said no, he just pointed and said uncle. I suggested maybe her son really saw her uncle. If there's a spirit in the house, it can affect the people there. A main sign is frequent dreams or sleep paralysis, since people and spirits shouldn't share the same space. So if he just passed away and he wants something from you, if he comes to you every day trying to tell you, your energy will be drained by him. That's why she often has strange dreams or experiences sleep paralysis. Because that's your body, your own soul, instinctively resisting some outside influence. Afterwards, we performed a simple ritual to drive away the evil spirit and sprinkled holy water in her house. Nothing else happened after that. I also sealed her son's body so he wouldn't see these things again, and the next day he stopped mentioning anything strange. However, the lady still had dreams, though she no longer felt possessed. I advised her to buy scissors, put them in a red envelope, and place it under her pillow. This is something I heard from others, and it works. She really put it there, and it actually worked. After that, nothing else happened. So I think sometimes it's really amazing, you know? Sometimes when you dream about ghosts, our first instinct is to think, is something bad going to happen to me? Is someone coming to take my life? You know, we've watched too many movies. But sometimes maybe they're just asking for help, just need your help. Oh, right, because later we found out that her uncle's children all believe in another religion. So maybe he didn't receive any offerings or anything like that, so he came to them for help. So it's case by case. Not every dream is related to the supernatural, but if it is related to the supernatural, you definitely need to come to us for help. Otherwise, if you drag it out, something bad might really happen. Thank you for sending in your questions. So if you have more questions that you want us to answer, you can leave a comment under our TikTok or YouTube channel. We also have a Google form where you can leave your message. All right, so we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.